Look, guys, cathedral windows over the top of my roof. Look at the light coming through the leaves. It's sublime. It really is. Here. I'll try to keep my finger out of this picture here. Okay, hang on a moment. There we go. Cool, baby. Joe Kersey here on June 6th, the 70th anniversary of D-Day. And to all those guys out there who are still alive, who participated in that little hellhole, I'm sure the people of Europe, if they had any sense, would be giving you eternal thanks. I don't know whether the people of Russia or the former Soviet Union would be giving you a lot of eternal thanks right now, but I don't know, which would have been worse, be killed by Stalin, which they were afterwards, or killed by Hitler, which they were being killed then. Dear God, what evil was perpetuated in the 20th century. It's just astonishing. It's just astonishing. And here are these guys, you hear about these guys that went up onto Omaha Beach, and there was one guy interviewed in the Daily Mail today, and he said, well, we were in the second boat, and we'd seen all the guys basically get out of the first boat and all get killed. It's like, shit the bed, I can't imagine doing that, but I'm sure glad some of these guys did do that. In all seriousness, I don't think Hitler would have, had a shot at taking our country, but still, unlike World War I, it was a war we should have gotten involved in, obviously. Hell, we were attacked, so of course we had to get involved. Just like this whole nonsense here the last 10 or 11 or 12 years in the Middle East. Well, enough politics for today. Today's Friday, and Paul was supposed to have the day off, and indeed he started off the day off. He started off the day off in his usual way. And those of you who know Paul know how he started off the day. And then around 9:30, the hotel called him and said they needed him to come in because a fellow had called in sick. The guy, the other house, the houseman who was doing his, Paul's job is technically called houseman. Had called in sick, and so they needed him, particularly since they've got 3 high school track teams coming, either in there or coming in there, and each one of these teams has about 80 people. They've got like about maybe 70 guys that compete, and then obviously you've got the coaching staff and that sort of thing. So you figure these 80 guys, you figure like maybe, you put 4 guys in a room, I guess, so that's like 20 rooms. So you're going to have probably upwards of 70 rooms in this hotel occupied by these high school track teams this weekend. Paul reported that he was already getting a certain amount of secondary gain by watching these guys in the pool area. Well, I imagine so. If you like those skinny guys. Well, they're guys. Sorry, straight viewers. That's just the way it is. Sometimes I just gotta say what's happening here in my head. Well, I pretty much say what's happening in my head anyway all the time. Today, I finally got caught up with all my YouTube stuff from, this sort of hiatus I had taken while I was doing this project with this fellow in Australia. And I can't really say much more about that except to say that the material I sent him on a flash drive arrived here about 14 hours ago. So he says it'll probably take about 2 weeks to do this, and because he goes at this stuff hammer and tongs when he gets on a project, and so I can't wait to see what he comes up with. Now it's going to be highly edited. It's all going to be made to fit a very laudable agenda, but an agenda nonetheless. So, which is fine. I do not disagree with this man's agenda on this. So, but it'll be interesting to see how he uses this stuff. It was fun to do something like this and send it off overseas. I certainly had $130 or $140 worth of fun out of this, so that's really all that matters. Well, that's not quite the right way, but it's certainly, short of him grossly misrepresenting us, and he's not going to do that. That's not this guy's ethic. It's going to be a good project. So when it finally comes out and I can talk about it properly, I'll talk about it properly. I just think that's neat as hell. That dates me, doesn't it? Because I always use the word neat, the phrase neat as hell. So today I was watching, Paul and I watched before he had to go scamper off to the hotel. His and our nephew, E3, down in Clarksville, Tennessee. Woodlawn, Tennessee, more properly. And he was showing off various firearms. He has a very different firearm aesthetic than I do, I think. Although maybe not. Maybe just what he shows is what he shows, and that doesn't represent his true aesthetic in terms of firearms. But I'm more of a classic, let's not have everything fold up. Let's not have everything look like plastic. Let's not have everything. But I completely understand the practicality of these newer firearm technologies, and that's fine, and I have no problem with that. It's not a moral issue with me, guys. It's not an ethical issue. It's just an aesthetic issue. But from a practical standpoint, I understand why these things would be very useful to have. He was in the military, so he's got a lot more experience with firearms than I've ever had. I've had a fair amount of experience with firearms, but not like he has had. Certainly not the big automatic weapons type stuff that he was using when he was in combat. So it's good to watch his stuff, and we enjoyed that. We both enjoyed it greatly there, E3. Hope you're having a good time with your friends from Michigan this weekend. I really, really do. It's always good to see friends, particularly when you get to this stage of your life. Going visiting, it really is. I always enjoyed going down to see this guy in North Carolina who is now dead, after having fallen down the stairs and brained himself. Well, Glad I knew it. So I plowed down through all this stuff on you. I really, meanwhile, here's this wonderful day, as you can see out here. Well, it was quite wet this morning. It's finally dried off, so it's not like I wasted a lot of the day. If I'd gotten out on the tractor, I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't have been worth a damn on the tractor today, because I would have been distracted by let's say a personal preoccupation that, excuse me, perhaps shouldn't be a personal preoccupation, but was. So I didn't try to do that. Plus, I always try to find an excuse not to do that. What difference does it make if the grass is mowed? It looks pretty. Well, if the township sends me a love letter, I'll mow the damn yard. Alright, let's see. Well, I can't really say anything specifically about my day of somewhat discontent, but let's just say sometimes sometimes honesty, honesty is always the best policy. Let's say full disclosure isn't necessarily the best policy. On the other hand, as much as I did not believe this many, many years ago, I have come to believe that you can lie by commission, meaning tell a lie, and you can lie by omission. And that if one doesn't really, if one avoids being fully fully open and discursive and discussing about a situation with somebody, then that is the functional equivalent of lying. And a long time ago, I decided that if I had to lie, and there are on very, very, very few occasions, times in your life you have to lie. Very few. I mean, we're talking like maybe 2 or 3 times in your life. And I vowed never to do that again, and that includes now it includes lies of omission. So I was fully disclosive about an issue, and didn't bother Paul, but it bothered the other party involved, which surprised me because the other party involved had sort of been urging me to do it. I doubt I'll ever learn. I hope I live, but I doubt I'll ever learn. Okay, YouTubers, bye-bye now. Dear God, it's beautiful out, isn't it? It really is.